So welcome, Marine Park Junior High School. I'm so happy that you were able to join on today. Thank you for participating in the New York Thursdays program with your school so that you could win this awesome prize pack and for taking an interest in dairy farming. So today we are at the LY Farms in Newark, New York. We are very excited to take a tour of this operation. Fun fact, LY Farms is actually the farm I grew up on, and Farmer George, who you're going to meet in just a second, is my dad. So not only does Farmer George know a lot about this farm for working here for over 30 years, I also know a little bit about this farm as well from growing up and working at the farm myself. So without further ado, American Dairy Association Northeast welcomes you to LY Farms, and let's welcome Farmer George.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's certainly a privilege and an honor that you would take time out and come to the dairy farm. Isn't technology awesome and great? We're going to make this just like a live dairy tour so you can pretend that you're actually getting off the school bus and stepping on our farm right now. It'll be just like a real live farm tour. And the weather is sunny right now in upstate New York. So welcome to our dairy farm. We are very, very passionate about producing high quality milk every day that goes into producing all of the yummy dairy products that we know that you enjoy and benefit from. So this is where milk comes from, right here at the dairy farm. And we're going to start this tour in our milking center where we milk the cows 3 times a day. So we have a routine, cows love routine in our milking parlor. The cows come in, and the first thing we do is disinfect and sanitize the udder and the teats, because high quality milk starts right at the cow where we harvest the milk. And then we use a microfiber towel to properly clean the cow's teats, and we attach the milking unit, and it takes about 7 minutes for the cows to milk. Let's come over here. We can see the milk coming down right here. So cows milk out very fast. The average cow on our farm produces about 10 gallons of milk every day. And we milk them 3 times a day. And the milking machine knows when the cow is done producing milk, and it will come off automatically. This is the pounds of milk that this cow has produced. So that's 46 pounds of milk that this cow has produced. And we can see her ID number on the screen when we check it. So her ID number is 21944. And we can see them putting the milkers on over here. They're attaching the milkers. So it's a very simple routine where the cows come in to be milked. They love to be milked. The milking process is very gentle, very comfortable, very relaxing, very natural. And there's a pulsation that removes the milk from the udder. And I want to, each one of our cows wears a cow transponder on her leg. And this is similar to a Fitbit that athletes would wear and other people that are concerned about their health and wellness would wear a Fitbit, and we have Fitbits for our cows. Let's get a close-up of that foam on the teats. So all of the information is collected and sent to the computer system every time we milk the cows. So you can, this is what we call a rapid exit parlor. It's also an electronic computerized parlor, which is what you're going to see on most modern dairy farms today. Every cow is identified automatically, electronically, almost like scanning your groceries at the checkout. When the cow comes in, you can see her cow transponder on her right front leg, and that is how the cow gets identified. And that monitors how much activity and how much rest and all of the health and wellness and production information is stored in our computer system. So this side of the parlor is coming in, and we're going to prep the udder, where we sanitize the teats and clean the teats and then attach the milking unit. And then when the milking unit comes off, like some of them are over here, we post-dip the teats for sanitation and exit the group of cows. So that's how we do the routine in the milking parlor. It's very simple and the cows enjoy it. So just like in your schoolroom where you have to schedule your classes and schedule your activities and schedule your lunch time, each group of cows out in the barn is on a schedule, and they come to the milking parlor on a different schedule. They wait in the holding area to come in. As you can see, they're all lined up to come, waiting for their turn in line to come in and be milked. And we can milk a pen of cows in about 40 minutes. So they're not out of their group for a very long period of time. And our milking parlor holds 40 cows, and we can milk them in about 10 minutes. So we have about 150 to 160 cows in one pen, and we bring them to the holding area one pen at a time, so they're not all waiting for a long period of time. How is the audio, Emma? Can you hear us good?
Yeah, your audio is good and your video is
okay, and all of the students are being very, very attentive. I bet you have a lot of questions about the dairy farm and how we care for the animals and care for the land. Where we're going to go next is where we store and refrigerate the milk. So come with me, watch your step, and the floor can be a little slippery. I think there's room for everybody to get in here. We can see the temperature of the milk. It is very important that we cool the milk. When the milk leaves the cow, it's going to be around 100 degrees, and we have to cool that down rapidly to ensure fresh, high quality milk. So this is our receiver vat where the milk is pumped from the milking parlor through these pipes, and it comes into the milk house. And then this is our chiller where we rapidly cool the milk. So the milk comes into the chiller at 100 degrees, and then it comes out below 40 degrees. And then it gets pumped over to these large storage tanks where we continue to cool it down to about 36 degrees. And then every day, the milk is picked up from our farm and taken to a processing plant where it's processed and pasteurized, homogenized, and turned into many yummy dairy products. You can see this pump right now. Right now we are loading one of our milk trailers, and this is how we load the milk trailers. We use this pump and we suck the milk out of these large bulk tanks and pump it through this hose out onto a trailer. So you can see the milk trailer right outside the door. And we have a licensed milk receiver person that brings these trucks to our farm, and they have to be certified and go through a lot of training to measure the milk, sample the milk, and be able to load it on these tanks, because every tank of milk gets tested and it has to be certified before it can leave the farm. And we do not process the milk here at the dairy farm. We have the raw product that is filtered and refrigerated, and then we take that to a processing plant where they will produce it and turn it into ice cream and cheese and yogurt, cottage cheese, and also chocolate milk and low-fat milk, whole milk, all of those dairy products that you, I'm sure, are aware of and love to enjoy. The raw product. If anybody likes pizza, pizza has a lot of mozzarella cheese on top of the pizza. That's one of the things that make pizza really good. And mozzarella cheese comes from cow's milk. The milk that we produce goes to a milk processing plant that produces mozzarella cheese for pizza. And also some of our milk goes into yogurt. And I'm sure that a lot of you have had yogurt and love to eat yogurt and other dairy products. We're going to head out to the cow barn where the cows live. We're going to, and if we lose our connection, we'll switch it over to Emma and she can answer some questions.
Yeah, so as Farmer George is headed out that way, one of the things he talked about is how we test the milk. So no milk or dairy products that you buy on the store shelves has antibiotics in it. It's all antibiotic free. And one of the ways we make sure that happens is we actually test the milk for antibiotics before it leaves our farm, and any cow that's receiving treatment is separated out of our herd. And that's one of the ways that we are held responsible to ensure food safety. So we take that very seriously because we know we're not only producing food for you, but also our families and our communities. So we take that very seriously. So while Farmer George and my dad walks out to barn 4, where all of our expectant mothers and new mothers live, we're actually going to play a video of where we house our calves. Calves are what we call babies. They're the youngest animals on the farm. And we're going to play you a recorded video just because that's a further away facility. So it's a further walk for Dad to get there. So without further ado, I'll have Dan pull up that video for us.
Hello everyone, we are here at the calf barn at Elvide Farms. As you can see, these ladies are all snug snuggled in. It's pretty cold here in upstate New York because it is winter time here still. So we have our curtains drawn up, the doors at the end closed, and even some tarps here on the front to button everything down. We at Elvi Farms do group raise our calves. And what that means is they're in these large groups of about 20 calves. We choose to raise our calves this way. We found it's just more labor efficient with people, and the calves have seemed to do really well as we group raise them. But it really varies from farm to farm, depending on where you farm and how many cows you farm. You might find a different practice is more successful for your calves. But we've chosen group housing here. So we did just feed the girls. And the way that we give them milk here is via a milk bar, is what we like to call it. So it's an automatic feeder that gravity flows milk into these peach teats right here for the girls, and they can drink milk 24/7. And these guys are going to be on milk for about 6 to 8 weeks before, you know, we start that weaning process and we'll wean them off. Now, the reason calves are only on milk for 6 to 8 weeks is because cows' digestive system is actually different from ours. They're born with 4 stomach compartments, but only one is developed, and that's the abomasum. And the abomasum is most like the human stomach. So that allows them to be able to digest milk well. At 2 to 3 weeks, their other stomach compartments will start developing. And that's the reticulum, the omasum, and the rumen. And when that happens, these girls are going to be a lot more interested in this calf starter. So down here, and they're naughty, they put some of their bedding in it. We have this calf starter, and that will help start develop their other stomach compartments. They'll start being interested in eating that. And then, you know, by 6 to 8 weeks, they're ready to completely wean off milk, eat some hay, which is like a dried grass, and help develop those stomachs even further. And they do have access to an insulated water, so that doesn't freeze during the winter. Now you might be wondering, what are those little jacket-like things on the calves? So this time of year it is a little bit chilly, although it is warmer in this pen because it has a wind block. We still like to make sure the girls stay warm when they're still a little bit on the young side. So we give them these calf blankets because when they lay down, you can see their legs are all tucked in. So by just putting a blanket over the back of them, it helps keep some of that body heat in when it's a little colder, like it is here in March in upstate New York. And then you can also see we have nice fresh straw for them to lay in, so they nestle right down in there and kind of create a nest. So this is where we raise the girls. You can see there's 2 other pens over there, and you can see the bar where they get to eat right there, and they're all nestled in. Hi guys. Oh, that one's got a green jacket on, so they can even get different colors. They're pretty great. And this one, she is been following me around and just sucking on me. Cutie. So with that, that's pretty much our calf pen. And thanks for joining.
So I know that video I had taken in the winter, and I was going to record a new one, but I was like, I know people always love to see the little calf jackets that we put on them in the winter. And I always like to highlight what we do in the winter, because in the summertime, the calves do pretty well. Calves like it a little bit warmer, not so much the adult cows. So I always like to highlight the hard work we do in the winter to make sure our calves stay nice, warm, and comfortable. And does anyone have any questions thus far about the parlor or what we might have seen? Yep. Oh, that was a little hard to hear. So if
okay, so the question was, what do you do with the male cows that are born?
What do we do with the male cows? That is a perfect question. So here at our farm, we are a milk producing farm. So that means we only keep the female cows who will grow up and have their first calf at 2 years old, which will allow them to produce milk. All of our male calves are sold at birth. And they usually go to other farms and then go into beef production when they get a little bit older, because dairy beef is also very good and nutritious to consume as well.
Okay, this right here is one of our newest freestall barns. And as you can see, it's kind of like a 5-star hotel, like a cow palace. And we are very excited about all of the features in this modern freestall barn. We call it a freestall barn because all of the cows are free to roam around inside their pen, and anytime they want, they can go get something to eat at the salad bar or the buffet line. And what you can see right here is a total mixed ration where all of the nutrients, the daily requirements for the cow, are provided in one complete ration, kind of like some of your pet foods that have a complete dinner package for the pet. We have that for our dairy cows, and we have a dairy cow nutritionist that has a lot of education and training that comes to our farm every week and reformulates all of the diets for all of the different production groups and growing heifers on the farm. All of the feed ingredients are tested so that we know the nutrient content, the minerals, the vitamins, protein, and energy. And we grow a lot of our own feed that we feed the cows here on the dairy farm, so that we are constantly balancing our nutrient load on the farm so that we can be environmentally sustainable and be good stewards of the land and be able to also be good community members and protect the environment. So I started to say, in this barn, cows have lots of space, lots of room, and we have cow handling facilities are very, very comfortable for the cows, and the ventilation and the cow cooling in this barn, it's all computerized and automated. You can see the sidewall curtains. They open and shut depending on the weather outside. And then also you can see all of the cooling fans for air quality and ventilation. So every cow gets to come to this barn and take a little bit of a mini vacation before they get ready to have a baby. We call that freshening, and that's the start of milk production. When a cow gives birth, they begin to lactate and produce milk. And
So, does anybody see that big blue barrel that Farmer George just passed by?
right here. Show
Can
them
anybody guess how many gallons that holds?
Anyone know how many gallons they're on? Let's take a guess.
Did I hear 50? I thought I heard 50.
Someone say 50? Someone said 15.
50? So that drum does hold 50 gallons of water. And can anyone guess what that might mean? What do you think on the farm where 50 gallons of water might be consumed? I saw one hand go up. Who do you think drinks 50 gallons of water every day? I'm seeing some not so sure faces. So that gallon drum, I put that out as a visual. That's 50 gallons, and one of our adult cows, our mature cows, the ones that Dad's showing you right now, can drink a whole one of those in a day. That's pretty big. That can fill up one whole bathtub at your house. It's a lot of water.
Right. Yeah, that's a very good show and tell example that really points out how large these animals are. And they are like high producing athletes where we have to balance their nutrition. And fresh water is one of the most important things for a dairy cow because they produce over 10 gallons of milk and they consume over 100 pounds of this total mixed ration, the food that we feed them. And like Emma said, the average dairy cow that's a high producing cow is going to drink 50 gallons of water a day. And they're also going to produce almost 30 gallons of manure. And we are going to talk about that a little bit later, how we process the manure. But let me go back to the cow's digestive system. And Emma might have mentioned it. Cows have 4 compartments in their stomach. They're called a ruminant animal, which is a little bit different than some of the other animals that only have one true stomach. So cows digest their food differently and they can utilize byproduct feed ingredients that you and I would not be able to digest. And also, they have a lot of fiber and they can get protein and energy out of feedstuffs that have a lot of fiber in them. And because of the digestive system of a dairy cow and how they consume a lot of fiber, that lends itself so that the manure that is produced by the dairy cows is an excellent resource for fertilizer, and we recycle it and dry it and process it and use it for animal bedding. So we are going to head in that direction, and we'll talk about that a little bit. Um, while I'm going through the center of the barn right here, this is where the babies are born on our farm. We have about 7 babies born every day, and we move the mothers to these individual pens when they get ready to go into labor, and then we can monitor the process and watch them closely, and we can provide assistance if needed. But it's a very natural process, and most of the time they're able to do it on their own. And we are not going to see a baby born today, but that would be exciting. Probably one of the most exciting things is the miracle of, of birth on the dairy farm. And we get to witness that every day here on the dairy farm. So just real quick, I want to point out the cow comfort, and we actually have mattresses for the dairy cows to lay on. And this right here is it's kind of windy here, but that's the animal bedding that we process and dry the waste from the dairy cows and use it for bedding.
You can see because it's so fine that it's a little windy and it just blows. That's how dry and how fine that is, those fiber particles that we're able to separate out of the manure. So it makes for a really comfortable dry bedding for the cows.
Yes, and these cows are very relaxed. They're resting. It's show the cow transponder on their leg. You can see the Fitbit on the cow's leg, and that monitors how many times they lay down and how long they get a rest. So we're actually monitoring their sleep pattern to make sure that they are getting proper rest. and also how comfortable the mattresses are. We can determine and measure that with the technology. And also, when you watch the cows lay down, you can tell if they're comfortable. There's 6 different positions that a cow lays in. And right now they're in the most comfortable position. So you can tell that the mattresses are working, and these free stalls are designed right, just the right size and comfort so the cows can get proper rest when they're in this barn.
And you can also see they have what look like some yellow earrings in their ears. So those yellow ear tags, those are the identification numbers. So just like each one of you, when you're born, you get a social security number. And what that means is you're going to use that when you go to buy a house and buy a car and get a job. It helps our government pull together and track everyone and keep everything organized. So on the farm, we give each cow an identification number, a lot like a social security number, and that goes into our system. And from the day that they are born, we will then track all of their health records, what pen they're in, and when they become an adult, how much milk they produce. So it's a lot like those social security numbers that we all get when we're born.
Okay, thank you, Emma. And that's all kept track of in our computer system. And want to point out our scale, and we're going to talk about the scale in a minute. But like I said earlier, this is our maternity and fresh cow barn, where we have 7 babies born on average every day. This barn is designed to be able to handle 15 births a day, because some days you have more than 7. And these newborn babies are born with no immune system, which is different than you and I. We get our immune system from our mom. When the mom is pregnant, she passes her immune system to the baby. The baby's born with some immunities, obviously not all of their immunities. But calves are different and bovines are different. They have 0 immune system when they're born, and then they get all of their immune system from the mother's first milking, which is called colostrum. So it's very, very important that we make sure each baby gets the right amount of high quality colostrum as soon as possible after they're born, in order to immunize the calf, because the lining of their stomach is only open for a short window to absorb the large protein molecules that have to get absorbed into the calf's immune system. So you can think of these calves like newborn babies, infants that were just born, and we have to give them a lot of care and attention. We have specialized facilities and staff members that are trained to care for these newborn babies. And as you can see, they're jumping around and very active. Within 2 hours after birth, these animals can stand up and run around, and they can drink 2 quarts of milk quite easily. And every day, once a day, all of the newborn babies are moved up to one of our calf barns, where they get raised in an ad libitum calf feeding system in group housing, and they like to socialize with their other herd mates, because animals are herd instincts. They love to communicate with one another and spend time with one another. And you just saw the video of our calf raising facilities. So this is where they start out, and this is our warm room. And in the winter months, when the calf is born, it's very wet, and we have to warm it up and dry it. And we bring you can show the computer system. We have lots of computers here. You can, this is just one of our offices here at the dairy farm. We have lots of cameras and also lots of computers to keep track of the health and wellness and productivity of our animals, and lots of data collection systems where we manually and automatically collect data, and that gets entered into the computer system.
So one thing I wanted to point out too is you guys probably saw that one calf with the white ear tag. She has a little bit of brown on her belly and her legs, and you might have been wondering what that was. So who here has a belly button? Raise your hand. Do you have a belly button? You should all raise your hand, right? You have a belly button. So calves, just like us, are born and they have an umbilical cord that attaches them to their mom. So when they are born, that umbilical cord breaks from their mother and they enter the world. So what we do to ensure that heals up nicely is we put some tinctured iodine on that. So that's why you saw some brown on her belly. She's not messy or dirty or anything like that. And that umbilical cord will dry right up and it will fall off in about a week. It will dry up and fall off. But yeah, she just had a little brown on her and I wanted to make sure everybody knew what that was.
Right. Thank you, Emma. One of the questions we sometimes get is, do we separate the mom from the baby after the baby is born? And and how long do we leave the mom with the baby? And then why do we separate them? And the answer is, about 2 hours after birth, we do leave the baby with the mom for a short period of time so that the mom can help stimulate the baby and clean the baby off. And that also helps the mom. But it's mainly for disease protection. Because our calves are born with no immune system and our cows are not potty trained, if the calf is exposed to the cow environment for long periods of time, there's a high probability with no immune system, those babies are going to get some type of a disease that would harm them. So to protect them from sickness that we don't want them to get, that's the main reason we separate them. But also we separate them for safety reasons. If we were to leave the calf with the mom, some of the calves would get injured. And it's kind of like working parents that have to go back to work. Cows love to be a cow and love to hang out with other cows and go to work, so to speak, and produce milk. And they lose interest in taking care of their babies after a while. So it's best for the calf, and to ensure the calf gets everything it needs with our protocols and our veterinarian and our calf staff, that we provide all of the needs of all of these babies so that they can get off to a great start and grow up to be healthy cows.
Awesome. So I'm going to actually have Dan pull up an aerial shot of our farm, and then I'm going to have Dad talk a little bit about how many cows we care for and how many acres we work to feed all those cows, just to give you guys a big picture. So there it is. That's our farm. Big picture of it. And over here where the mouse is, that is where Dad is right now in barn 4. These 4 barns house milk cows. And then over here we have our heifers. And then right where those white looking things, little black dots on them, that's where we store all our food. Yeah, right.
Emma's asking me a question.
So now, Dad, can you tell us how many cows we have total on the farm and how many acres we work to grow all that food for them?
Okay, thank you, Emma. And I bet a lot of you are very, very amazed at how large our farm is. And our farm is a very beautiful farm, and we're very blessed to have such a great farm in upstate New York. And it's a very beautiful farm. We take a lot of pride in that. And all of our buildings are kept nice. We currently have, we're milking 1,850 cows 3 times a day. That's how many cows we milk. And then we also have about the same number of babies and teenagers, if you will. We call them young stock or herd replacements. So we have over 3,800 total animals on our farm. And Emma asked about crop acres. So an acre of land is probably equal to a large football field. And we have 3,600 acres of land that we utilize to grow all of the feed for all of the animals on our farm, and also to be able to balance our nutrient load and have a place to utilize the natural fertilizer. And then we have about 35 full-time worker equivalents that take care of all of the land and all of the animals on our farm. And that's probably the second thing that we're most passionate about, is to treat everyone like family and provide a great place to work where employees and owners can come to work and love what they do and have an opportunity to do something that matters, where we are connecting and providing food for many, many people in our local communities. And they also have an opportunity to grow with our business. And we love it when our employees are engaged and love what they do. So
Awesome. So now we're going to open it up for questions. So I'm sure you guys have been hearing a lot of information and you probably have a lot of questions. So we will take questions now. You can stand up, let me know your name, speak nice and loud so we can hear you. But if we can't, we can also have your teacher repeat the question for us. So take it away. Who has the first question today?
we're going to ask questions.
Have questions? No? You have a question Yeah, you have. I have a question. What
Okay.
about, do your cows get growth hormones?
Can you say that one more time?
Do your cows get growth hormones?
I think I heard the question. The question was, do the cows get growth hormones?
Yes.
And no, the answer to that question, we do not use. You're probably thinking of bovine somatotrophin hormone, which is a very natural hormone that's produced by the pituitary gland in every cow produces that hormone. But then there is a technology, a synthetic man-made version of that natural hormone that was used in the dairy industry for a period of time. And it was regulated by the FDA and very safe. And a lot of farmers participated and used that in order to help the cow produce more milk was the reason for the technology. But very few farmers are using that anymore because the consumers did not want us to use that. And we do listen to our consumers, and our farm does not use that technology. And very few farmers, it's not illegal, but probably 95% of the food processors and milk co-ops have made a decision to not accept milk that was produced using bovine somatotropin hormone on the farm. So that's a really good question. And we do listen to our consumers, and we want to be transparent. And today, consumers want to know how their food is produced, and they want to know how the animals are cared for and what you're doing to become sustainable and leave this planet a better place. And consumers are very, very concerned about health and wellness. And as they make food decisions today, consumers are going to vote with their pocketbook and buy from companies that are producing food that was produced the way they want it produced. And consumers are very smart and well educated today, well informed with a lot of the information that's available. And that's why we open up our farm, so that we can help inform our consumers, connect with our consumers, because it's really a passion of ours to establish those lifelong friendships with our neighbors and our community and our consumers, and give them an opportunity to see what we do and hear our story. We're very honored when people are interested in what we do. But thank you for that question.
Awesome. Do we have any other questions?
Yes, we have another one.
Okay.
Do the cows lose weight when you finish milking them?
Oh, great question.
Do the do the cows lose weight when you finish milking them? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Not significantly. Obviously, the average cow in our herd is producing about 90 pounds of milk, and we milk them 3 times a day. So when a cow goes to the milking parlor and produces 30 pounds of milk, now 30 pounds for you or I, if we lost 30 pounds in 7 minutes, that would be unhealthy. But for a cow that weighs anywhere from 1,300 to 1,800, the average cow is going to weigh 1,500 pounds. And a cow consumes 50 gallons of water, which is over 400 pounds a day, plus another 100 pounds of food. So they temporarily lose 30 pounds when they get milk. If you were to put them on the scale before they got milk and after they got milk, they would lose about 30 pounds. But then immediately after the cow is milked, she goes back to her freestall barn and she will gain that weight right back, because that'll be one of the largest meals of a cow's day. And a cow can eat up to 25 pounds of food in one meal time. A cow has 3 or 4 major meals per day, and then they're always nibbling and snacking all day long. and they'll have another 3 or 4 small meal breaks. So that's a really good question.
Yeah, do we
Thank you
have
for that
more
question.
questions?
Do males produce more milk than females?
Good question.
Okay, that is a good question. Only the females can get pregnant. The males can't get pregnant. We all know that. And then you have to get pregnant and you have to have a baby in order to produce milk. So that's a really good question. But the males, because they can't get pregnant, they don't ever have babies and they don't ever produce milk. So the males on our farm and the males on all farms do not produce milk. And Emma earlier talked about we don't raise any of the male calves on our farm. We sell them to other farmers and they're raised on other farms. Most of the male calves go into beef production. Some of them are used for genetic purposes.
Yep,
Good
great
question.
question. Do we have another question? I see some people getting up and moving around.
Looks like we're out of questions.
Emma,
We're out of questions.
can somebody repeat the question?
So I said, it looks like we're out. No more questions.
No more questions. Okay.
No more?
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate you guys taking the time to join us at the farm today. We hope you learned a lot of good information. And the American Dairy Association Northeast, who sponsored today's tour, we do put on virtual farm tours regularly, so you can visit our website to see our lineup for the fall. We'll be doing a few more virtual farm tours. And we try to go to different farms, so you can see and experience maybe a different farm here in the Northeast. So if you're interested in that, please do that. And so without further ado, I'll pass it off to Farmer George for any last comments.
Right, and I also want to thank you for participating and coming to my farm with the technology that we have available, and so that I can share what I love and what I'm passionate about, so that you can have the same great experience that I have every day. It's a privilege and a responsibility to care for our animals and provide a great place to work for all of our people. And so we just know that you love and enjoy our products, and we love to hear from you. If you have any thoughts or questions, we have an open door policy, and we love to give tours, and we love to talk to people and connect with people, because it's really those lifelong friendships that we really value. And we value the people that don't have the opportunity to grow up and work on a dairy farm, but they are very, very interested in what we do. So it's an honor to have you be interested in what we do. Thank you.
Awesome. And if you're interested in learning more about LY Farms, you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram. That's EL-VI Farms on Facebook and Instagram. So thanks everyone for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed your time and enjoy goodies.
Thank you. Thank you for the